The Council of the Star Realm laughed when the vote ended. The Princess of the Silver World had failed every rite meant to prove her future. Her body carried no spark, they said. In a culture that prized heirs above all, she was a burden wrapped in silk. To end the matter with humor, they gifted her to a human traitor who waited outside the hall. The act was meant as a lesson and a joke at once. Not the human was named Eli. He was not rich or famous. He hauled medical supplies between forgotten stations and paid his fees on time. When the guards pushed the princess forward, he did not bow or sneer. He simply looked at her and asked if she wished to leave. The translator hummed softly. She said yes. The laughter followed them down the ramp. The princess was called Luma. Her skin glimmered like moon metal, and her eyes reflected starlight. On her world, she had servants and songs, yet no freedom. The elders marked her as infertile and cold. They believed the future was written in blood alone. Luma believed in patience. She carried that belief aboard the human ship. Eli prepared a small cabin and left her food and quiet. He spoke to her as an equal and asked nothing in return. He explained the ship and the routes and the dangers of space storms. Luma listened and learned. In time, she asked to help. He taught her to read human charts and tend the ship plants. Days became weeks. The joke faded into routine. When they reached a frontier station, Eli found work with a clinic that treated miners and refugees. Luma watched him patch wounds and calm fear. She learned names of tools and the meaning of care. The clinic lacked funds, it never lacked hope. Luma offered her hands. The doctors accepted. She learned how to heal. Rumors traveled faster than ships. The council heard that the discarded princess lived among humans. They shrugged. Let the joke continue. Meanwhile, Luma changed. Her people measured worth by heirs. Humans measured worth by acts. In the clinic, she saw lives saved without regard to lineage. She felt something warm where despair once lived. Years passed. Eli never claimed ownership. He filed papers that named Luma as partner, not cargo. They shared meals and stories. At night, they watched the stars through the canopy. Luma asked about human families. Eli spoke of choice and love and patience. Luma spoke of rituals and loss. Neither mocked the other. A plague struck the outer belt. The clinic overflowed. Luma worked without rest. She adapted alien techniques to human tools. She listened to hearts and held hands. Eli saw her strength and trusted her judgment. Together, they organized relief routes and taught volunteers. The plague broke. The station remembered their names. During a quiet season, Luma felt a change within herself. It was not the spark her elders described. It was deeper and slower. She grew calm and fierce at once. She told Eli she feared nothing yet wondered about everything. The clinic scans showed a miracle that defied the council doctrine. Luma carried life. The news spread like fire. Some called it error. Some called it theft. The council sent envoys demanding proof. Eli refused to surrender Luma. He asked what right they claimed. The envoys cited tradition. Eli cited consent. The station backed him. The clinic stood with them. A line was drawn. Luma chose to return. Not in chains. Not in shame. She returned with Eli beside her and allies behind. The council chamber filled again. The elders stared as Luma stood tall. She spoke calmly and showed records and witnesses. She explained care and partnership and choice. She did not beg. The elders argued. Their laws had no room for such proof. Luma placed a hand on her belly and spoke of the future. She said a culture that denies life unless it fits a rule will wither. She offered change. Silence followed. Outside the chamber, citizens gathered. They had heard the stories. The vote was called again. This time the laughter did not come. The result split the council. Reform passed by a narrow margin. The princess was restored with new authority. The law of worth expanded beyond blood. Clinics were funded. Exchanges with humans increased. The joke ended. Luma returned to the station to give birth. The child arrived healthy and curious. The nurses smiled. Eli held the child and felt a universe settle. Luma named the child Nova, which meant beginning. Messages poured in from worlds near and far. Hope traveled well. Years later, Nova toddled through the clinic halls. Luma taught medicine and policy. Eli trained pilots and medics. The council sent students to learn. The silver world changed slowly yet truly. Infertility lost its stigma. Choice gained honor. When Nova first spoke a word, it was not mother or father. It was help. Luma laughed softly. She knew the elders had been wrong, not only about her body, but about meaning itself. Life was more than lineage. It was care repeated daily. The story spread across the star realm. Humans were not mocked in it. They were thanked. The princess who was given away returned as a mother and a leader. The joke that once echoed became a lesson. No world forgot it. Time continued its patient work. Nova grew into a child who asked careful questions and listened for answers. Luma guided lessons with stories rather than commands. Eli built simulators that taught safety through play. Visitors came from distant systems to observe the quiet revolution. They saw no throne rooms. They saw kitchens and classrooms and gardens in orbit. The silver world faced resistance. Some elders clung to old songs. Luma met them with data and kindness. She invited them to clinics where survival rates climbed. She showed them families formed by choice and duty. She asked them to measure outcomes, not myths. Slowly the songs changed. A drought struck the silver world farms. Luma organized relief with human efficiency and alien precision. Eli negotiated routes and fuel. Nova helped plant seeds in public domes. Cameras recorded the effort. Pride shifted from pedigree to service. Children cheered the harvest dot when Nova reached schooling age. Luma insisted on shared classrooms. Human and alien students studied together. Languages blended. Art flourished. Science accelerated. The fear of difference weakened. The council expanded exchange programs. Borders softened. A crisis tested the reforms. Pirates raided a convoy carrying medicine. Old voices demanded force alone. Luma chose rescue and dialogue. Eli planned a decoy route and a medical offer. The pirates accepted aid and surrendered. Lives were saved without war. The lesson endured. Nova watched and learned. She trained in medicine and navigation. She learned to listen before speaking. She learned to admit mistakes. Luma emphasized humility as strength. Eli emphasized preparation as kindness. Together they modeled balance. Years later, Nova faced a choice. She could claim a title or continue service. She chose service. The council ratified a charter that limited hereditary power. Luma signed it with steady hand. Eli smiled. On a clear cycle, the family visited the old council hall. The chamber felt smaller. Luma remembered the laughter and felt no anger. She felt resolve. She addressed apprentices and told them that jokes can wound and heal depending on who tells them. She urged care with words and laws. The star realm entered a new era. Trade increased. Conflicts decreased. Clinics replaced prisons in many systems. The story of the discarded princess became a case study taught in academies. It emphasized partnership across species and the value of consent. At home, Nova prepared for a long voyage. Luma packed medical kits. Eli tuned engines. Neighbors gathered with food and songs. There was no fear. There was purpose. Before departure, Nova asked why the elders had been so sure. Luma answered that certainty can be a cage. Eli added that curiosity is a key. Nova nodded and boarded the ship. The ship departed with a gentle burn. Luma watched until the stars swallowed the whole. She felt pride and calm. Eli wrapped an arm around her. They returned to work. In time, Luma grew older. Her legacy did not rely on statues. It lived in policies and people. Eli taught a new generation of traders who valued care. The silver world thrived. When messages arrived from Nova, they spoke of clinics built and routes opened. They spoke of children learning together. They spoke of mistakes corrected. The pattern repeated. The tale concluded not with an ending, but with continuity. A joke became a mirror. A gift became a partnership. A princess became a mother and a guide. Humanity proved that strength can be gentle and still reshape the stars. History records often miss texture. To preserve it, Luma founded an archive of lived experience. Testimonies were gathered from patients and pilots and teachers. Eli contributed logs that emphasized mundane choices. Nova sent field notes filled with sketches. Scholars praised the method. A festival marked the 10th year of reform. Lanterns floated through orbiting rings. Music blended scales from many worlds. Luma danced among citizens without guard. Eli cooked for volunteers. Children chased light. An elder approached Luma and apologized. The words were simple and late and sincere. Luma accepted. Healing widened. As seasons turned, the star realm normalized cooperation. Disputes met mediators before fleets. Resources flowed to need. Innovation followed empathy. The clinic model replicated. On a quiet night, Luma and Eli returned to the canopy where they once watched stars. They spoke of beginnings and gratitude. They knew jokes lose power when answered with care. The record ends here by choice. The rest belongs to those who continue the work. The mother returned not to rule, but to remind. The humans smiled then and now. Through actions that endured. In classrooms, the story is read aloud. Students debate policy and ethics. They role-play choices and consequences. Teachers note improved empathy scores. Data supports the narrative value.